Welcome to the second installment of our Career and College Readiness video series. This time we'll explore argumentative writing. Before you watch the rest of this video, you'll need this. Please look for the argumentative writing handouts on our Moodle site. These are Smarter Balanced practice test items for grades 6 through 8. Before we dig into the Smarter Balanced argumentative test items, let's explore the differences between argumentation and persuasion. This explanation of what sets argumentation apart from persuasion comes from page 24 of the Common Core State Standards Appendix A. Let's take a few minutes to pause this video and read this paragraph through. So what does this mean? Let's look at an example. Take a look at these two paragraphs. The first one reads, "Animals shouldn't be used for medical testing because they are innocent beings who are not able to defend themselves against cruelty." The second one reads, "While doctors have made some medical advances using animal testing, there are many reasons to find alternatives to using animals for research. First, animal testing may be ineffective anyway. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, 92% of drugs that are safe and effective for animals in a laboratory end up not being safe and effective for humans." What is the difference between these two paragraphs? What makes one argumentative and the other persuasive? If you want to pause the video and talk about it, do so now. The first one is persuasive because it only focuses on the writer's emotions. The second paragraph acknowledges that there is a debatable other side to the argument, but uses a fact to dispute that other side's claim. Now that we've had a chance to see what argumentative writing is all about, let's jump into some practice. Go through some sample assessment items and discuss with your teaching partners what you notice about the items. What will students have to know and be able to do to show mastery of the argumentative writing standards? Here are the guiding questions we'll seek to answer as we investigate these practice items. Number 1, what will our students need to be able to do for the Common Core State Standards argumentative writing strand? Number 2, what are we doing that we should continue doing? Number 3, what are we doing that we should drop doing and teach something else in its place? And number 4, how do we teach these things so students will learn them? Please write your answers to these items in our discussion board. Pause the video here, view and reflect on the assessment items, and then start up the video again to compare your thinking to mine. Now that you've had the chance to explore these practice assessment items, let's see what you've come up with. Please feel free to modify your answers in the discussion board if necessary. This first item is from the grades 6 through 8 practice test. I'm thinking that in order for students to accomplish this task, they will need to know the definition of these words: argumentative report, sources, and claim. They will also need to know how to identify information from sources to support the claim. Here are the answers. Evidence to support claim number 1 is found in source 2. Evidence to support claim 2 is found in source 1. And evidence to support claim number 3 is found in both sources. This next practice item is from the grade 6 practice test. First, notice that it doesn't say anywhere that the student is writing an argumentative letter, just a letter. Students who are reading this will have to figure out somehow that this is argumentative so they understand that they are adding an introductory paragraph with a claim inside it. Next, students will have to know the following vocabulary: introduction, claim, establishes the claim, and paragraph. Most students should know this last word, but it never hurts to check to ensure that they do. The correct answer is C. In paragraph A, it's not clear what the writer's claim is. Paragraph B does not fit the reasons laid out in the rest of the letter. D stands for double whammy. It doesn't make the claim clear, and the reasons for not having summer homework do not match with the rest of the letter. Unlike the last practice test item we just studied, this item does say it is argumentative. Students will have to know then what an argumentative report is. They'll also have to know what the word source means, and they'll have to understand how writers pick out reasonable details to support their claims. Here are the answers. Claim 1, source 1. Claim 2, neither source. Claim 3, source 2. Claim 4, both sources. And one other detail I noticed, Claim 4 ends with for children, but source 1 talks about young people. So our students will need to know about word choice and synonyms. Next comes the 7th grade practice test item. Students are going to have to know how to pick out a writer's claim when they know it's an argumentative piece. They need to know the claim in order to know what details best support the claim. Speaking of details, they'll have to know how to revise their writing to take out unimportant details that don't really support their claim. The 2 sentences to underline are, I am a member of the newspaper staff, and I helped conduct the survey. Who cares? And your email inbox would fill up in a hurry. And here are a couple of 8th grade test items. The answers will vary in this first prompt, as students will compose an introduction to fit the paragraph given. So what do students need to know to be successful with this kind of test item? They'll have to know what a good introduction looks like. How is an introduction created for an already existing paragraph? Students will have to be able to pull out the writer's claim and have a good way for grabbing readers' attention and leading them into the claim. Here's a piece of the rubric for the highest score a student can earn on this test item. Note the exemplar off to the right. Below that is information about what makes the exemplar good. You'll want to pause this screen for a bit to read through this box. This last test item asks students to recognize good facts that support their claims. What kind of thinking do students need to do for this? For starters, they need to pull out the claim from the provided paragraph. The parts about the Hoover Dam are used as an introduction to the report. From there, the author broadens the sweep from the Hoover Dam to many monuments. Then there is the counterclaim. Some have suggested that this has led to a form of bias where some presidents are celebrated and others are easily forgotten. The claim here is, naming places and structures after these presidents is the most appropriate way to honor their legacy and memory. Once students know this, they should be able to pick out the 2 pieces of evidence that support the claim. National landmarks named after people are important reminders of people's contributions to society, and honoring someone by naming a landmark after that person reflects the work and contributions that person made during his or her lifetime. You know, and maybe it would make sense to give students exercises just like this. Have them practice identifying supporting details, as well as saying why other details in a text would not be useful additions to the argumentative research report. Okay, one more thing. The 8th grade performance task is argumentative, at least in the practice. So you want to check it out to see what students will need to do for the performance tasks. These are going to be very involved and long, to say the least. So follow the link up here and check those performance tasks out. By the way, grade 6 is a narrative performance task and grade 7 is explanatory. I don't know if that's what they will look like in the actual assessments, but it's just a good idea to be aware of these. So check those out, and if you have any questions, you know how to find me.